After the action-packed round at Road Atlanta, it's safe to say that FMS Senna isn't invincible, with Serpent Racing taking the overall win at the DuPont Atlantic Shootout. The season moves on to its next stop at Mugello, and some questions still remain to be answered. Does FMS Senna have to worry about the continued Serpent onslaught? Does InFlames have the speed to hold on to the points lead in GT300? We have a full race recap from Atlanta, as well as answers to those questions, and a look ahead to the Brembo Italian Invitational. It's the Formula Forza Pre-Race Podcast by JET Motorsport.
Hi guys, I'm your host Derek James, aka Magnum278, and I'm joined as always by Ryan McDowell, gamertag Slifer68, and Brad's back, guys.
Back from the dead!
No, you weren't dead.
Aw.
Everybody else was sad too.
Oh yeah. They're like, oh man, Brad wasn't dead? Oh, damn it. Alright, moving on. Ryan, are you starting our race recap from the DuPont Atlantic Shootout?
What if we started off with qualifying? What do you think, Brad? You can take us through qualifying?
Qualifying in first, once again, FMS Senna with a 48.3, 3/10 back in the Honda. I don't know, I just keep on wanting to call it an Acura. FMS Top Secret. In third, in another Honda/Acura, David Goss.
AKA used to be Batman LMP1.
Yeah.
Just if you remember that far back.
That's
a long way back.
No, that is not the same guy.
Yeah, I know.
It isn't?
Wait, it isn't?
No, Batman.
My life's been thrown into chaos.
Everything I've ever known is wrong.
It's all a lie.
No.
Okay, who is he, Ryan?
Okay, David Goss is Hey, It's David. So he was the TLR driver.
Oh,
jeez.
Oh, yeah, okay. But he's still way back in Formula Forza Pre-Race.
If it was Batman LMP1, I think he would have won, to be honest.
Well,
the day Batman LMP1 is ridiculous.
Well, we'll get to it, but Goss did pretty frickin' well, I think, for his first outing back in this sort of weird formula. But anyway, let's get to the qualifying. Goss third. What was his time?
Continue. Way off topic. Goss's time was a 49.1, and then in fourth, actually back from the dead, Magnum 278. In fifth, XPR Chicane, formerly Bloody Cane. And then we have FW Macedon and Fryfeneg 9 rounding out Group A for GT500. In first, for GT300, we have In Flames.
Surprising.
No, not surprising. In second, we have LMR Deftone. Also not surprising. In third, we have ZX Squid.
Slightly surprising. Even more surprising, we have Platonic Lotus after that. Then we have BTR Dark Dragon. His first time in Group A, I might add.
BTR Dark Dragon or Platonic Lotus?
No, BTR Dark Dragon.
Has Platonic Lotus been in Group A yet?
I can't recall. He might have.
Okay. And then he has. Okay. And then we have LMR Legadass. And then Slap Shift Speed, who didn't end up making the race. 4Speed, whatever. Sorry for butchering your name. And then we have XY101 rounding out Group A.
Now we can go into the race recap. Ryan, what do you got for us?
Actually, I'm going to stall us right back into qualifying and talk about it just a little bit.
Derek, you do that all the time, I
No,
swear.
it's okay. It's all right. So one thing that really blew me away was how insanely close this whole qualifying was. You look at, the top two guys were a little bit, they had kind of a gap on the rest of the field. You had Senna 48.3 and Top Secret with a 48.6.
46.
Right, so 3/10 apart. And then you've got half a second to Goss, but Goss pretty much leading the pack of the 49s. Everyone else in GT500 that qualified in the top, that wasn't in drop zone and then got called up, qualified in the 49s. That's insane to me. I mean, that just shows where this has...
Well, we did say it was going to be close, though, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Last week we had predicted that it was going to be close.
But nobody could predict it to be that close.
I mean...
all right, I'll give you that.
Okay, everybody in Group A was in 2/10 of each other. Nearly. 3/10, basically, but,
Yeah. All right, I'll give you that.
Okay, so how about Rock Lewis S and TLR Eclipse? Both of those guys I kind of expected to make Group A, but they ended up bumping down into Group B. Look at their times. 49.427 and 49.428. 1/1000th separating the two. I mean, you can't get much closer without being a tie. I mean, you literally can't get closer without being a tie. Then right behind that, Subway Cookie and Moon Tower and Mr. Dr. Spaceman. Mr. Dr. Spaceman, he was on the podium at the last race. How the hell is he in the middle of Group B? I don't know if it's.
Well, Moon Tower.
I mean, from experience, I know that this track is very hard to gain even like 2/10.
Yeah,
especially this layout.
Totally agree.
Because like if you get it, you'd be like, "Whoa, how did I do that?" And then you probably can't do it ever again. So it's really hard to gain time here.
Yeah, you're one to talk.
Oh, shut up! It was my first race back.
And it was my first race back.
Yeah, but you've driven that car before.
Twice. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we are already arguing. Ryan, right. Go back to your recap.
Well, I'll tell you what. Then we'll move on from qualifying here. I mean, the surprising thing I think for some people was we had a new team join in, and we'll get to some of that in the league news here in just a minute. But we had a last minute team that joined in after we recorded the last podcast, but before the race. That's the Snooze You Lose Motorsport team. So that's what a SAYL or Sail Motorsport, as I'm just going to refer to them from now on. Because every time I read their name, I'm thinking of the AWOL Nation. I'm like, Sail! Right. So anyway, those guys did surprisingly well.
Is that the team with the new logo on the website?
Yes.
Logo with the white letters?
Yep. And it says SYLM in there. Snooze You Lose Motorsport.
Slim. That's nice. A great name.
And the other one is Siler. So I think that's kind of funny. All right, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But these two guys, we're talking about Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Dooby-Doo, I guess. Right? And IMSA 90 GTO. Qualified at the top of Group B. I mean, they were split by Scurry 76, who was B10 there, or I guess second in Group B GT300. But these guys did fairly well on their first outing. I gotta imagine, now they are piloting the Zonda, so we know that the Zonda is a very capable car, and they were still getting their sort of tuning ground, because they joined in on Wednesday. So, for them, they joined in right before qualifying opened. Basically a week ago from as we're recording this, they joined in and were able to get the car pretty much in good enough condition that they could qualify into the race and got themselves some decent track position there in qualifying. So impressive stuff from them. I guess we'll move on into the race. Now, what I would like to do here is, Derek, you were back in the seat here for GT500, and after all those JET Motorsport or the JET driver changes, you ended up on sort of leading the JET Academy team, while Ferrari Fanatic 9 moved up to the JET Vets team.
Loser. That's a bit of a demotion, Derek.
No, he came back in. I'm the owner
of this team. It's not a demotion.
He had to come back in. All right, so Derek,
you're on the Academy team.
You had a fantastic start.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about the race from the GT500 perspective from your seat?
All right. When the lights did go out, David Goss, he might have just gone a split second after I did, but I really did not expect the Jet Academy DHL Nissan GTR R35 to actually get that good of a start. Generally,
thank all my sponsors.
Shut up. It is a very hard car to get off the line with any good speed, and the Honda's a really easy car to get off the line with like a good jump going. And when I got to the first corner and I was ahead of him, it blew my mind. Brad, you were watching and you said you were completely dumbfounded that I had took the lead by the first corner.
It was ridiculous.
But slowly I tried to build up the gap, and I didn't hear this until after the race, but Bloody Kane actually did duck into the pits at lap 3. I believe it was lap 3.
It was quite early.
It was very early. It was lap 2 or 3. But it was around lap 5. We hit the very tail end of the GT300 traffic, so I started winding through them, and about 4 or 5 laps later, I don't know when, Kane was kind of far behind at this point. Senna was slowly running his way through the field. Goss was slowly dropping back in my rearview mirror, surprisingly. I expected him to mount a huge offensive at the beginning, but we were coming up to about, I think he was in 4th at the time in GT300. It was LMR Deftone coming into the first sector at the top of the hill. It turned to 2 and 3. And I had talked to him beforehand, and I said, hey, I'm coming up behind you. And he said, all right, I'm kind of squirrely through here, so you might want to just take it easy through here. And I said, all right. So I came up behind him right before the chicane at the top of the hill, and I slowed down to make sure I didn't, run him over. And we were coming down the hill, and I said, all right, I'm going around you. And he must have looked back as I was coming alongside him on the right, and turned over because he managed to turn right into me. And that was pretty much my race done.
Your fault.
My fault.
Your fault.
I managed to salvage it and bring it back to, I think it was 6th place. The field was still relatively close to where they got around. Everybody but Kane.
You finished 6th?
No.
Oh.
Everybody but Kane had gotten around me after I had managed to get the car back on track. And I made it back through Ferrari Fanatic and, FW Mastodon, and Mitchell's coming up behind them. So I'm trying to, build up enough of a gap to where Mitchell's not running down my back, 2 laps later. And next thing you know, as I predicted, 2 laps later, he's running down my neck. Now, at this point, FMS Top Secret had already gotten by us. We had tried to slow him down as much as we can, but due to the incidents, he managed to get around us, and Mitchell was already trying to chase him down. Mitchell was feeling the pressure, and after he gets around us and I duck into the pits, while I'm actually in the pits, Mitchell has a run-in with XY101. They were going, him and FW Mastodon, rather, were trying to go around XY, and Mitchell happened to hit XY and knock him into FW Mastodon. So that took those two pretty much out of contention. So you see, by the time it was all said and done, FMS Top Secret had actually taken the lead, and Bloody Kane, after pitting that early, had managed to gain all of that time back and managed to make it back in 2nd. And by the luck of my teammate, Mitchell not wanting to get another, time penalty, he dropped back and let me finish 3rd. So I kind of fake finished on the podium. But that was the results. So, Ryan, any stipulations with that recap?
One thing that...
Now you know how it feels when you talk.
No, it's fine. It's fine. That was a good recap. I think one of the things that stuck out in my mind is that incredible threading of the needle you did between, what was that, Ferrari Fanatic and was one of the GT300s.
It was FW Mastodon. Yeah, it was FW Mastodon and LMR Legatus.
Some other bro.
Okay.
No.
But yeah, that was an incredible maneuver on your part. Now, Goss actually had a pretty good showing. I mean, I know he was dropping back a little bit, but he really wasn't...
Oh, I forgot he lagged out.
Yeah, he wasn't that far behind you. And
no, he wasn't.
When you made that incident with, or when you had that contact with Deftone, it kind of spun you sideways right at the bottom of the hill in the S's, and watching it from Goss's point of view, wow, that was a really close, almost could have been catastrophic for both of you, because he passed while still accelerating for the uphill right-hander and went onto the grass on the left to get around you, and it was just like maybe 6 inches in the game that he missed you by, and took the lead there. And it looked like Top Secret was running him down, and there was a point where Top Secret ended up passing Goss, and it was like Goss was slowing up for traffic at the final turn. Not entirely sure which GT300 it was, but Goss was trying to be at least a little bit courteous on that, and sort of slowed up a little bit and went right to give a lot of room, and Top Secret just went right up the middle and passed both of them on that front straight. It was a pretty incredible pass, really. So Top Secret took the lead there, and Goss was trying to stay close to Top Secret and just couldn't do it. I don't know if it was, whether he had a little bit of damage or what was going on with his setup, but Top Secret every lap, it was just a little bit. I mean, it wasn't like Top Secret was just blowing him out of the water. It was just, little bits here and there. It just kept getting bigger and bigger, and Top Secret wasn't making any mistakes. And I believe it was like lap...
No, he wasn't.
16 or maybe 20, right in that range. Goss lags out. So that was terrible news for TLR.
Great news for the rest of the field.
Eclipse lagged out as well in Group B.
That's true. Eclipse lagged out of Group B. So really, I'm sure that's a team that can't wait for the dedicated servers on Forza 5 to really help their case. Okay, so beyond that, one thing that I thought was incredible was XPR Chicane. The drive from him in this race was phenomenal. His early pit strategy somehow paid off. It's rare that early pit strategy pays off. Generally, you get tapped or something and you're like, I really...
98% of the time.
Right. So
it does not work.
So in this instance, it did work out for him. He had all but clean air the whole time. The only thing is, Top Secret was running a flawless race. I mean, he made no mistakes that we saw. So, yeah, Top Secret takes the win. XPR Chicane just basically whittles down the rest of the field, grabbing second. And Magnum 278, right place, right time, while there was massive damage to Senna's car and engine. Did you guys see that he was only producing 300 and change horsepower out of 500 and something?
Yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know that he so much handed it to you as it would have been yours.
Yeah, we had to rebuild that motor.
Right. It probably would have been yours ultimately, but I mean, right place, right time, I wouldn't feel bad about taking that podium spot if I were you. In the GT300, Brad and I watched this race from the spectator view. Brad just didn't have a mic, so I'm sure he can comment on some of these things as I get to them. But In Flames made a huge comeback from the back of the field, started second to last in GT300. Only further back was LMR Deftone, and Deftone was making a pretty good charge as well. But yeah, Deftone and In Flames just charging through the field. ZX Squid very early took a lead here, and we had a great battle between BTR Dark Dragon. What was that? ZX Squid. No. BTR Dark Dragon, Deftone, and Platonic Lotus. That was a great
that's
battle.
That's something we haven't seen from Dark Dragon. We've never had him up in the lead of a race before, and he did fairly well up front.
Yeah, he did actually lead the GT300s for a while before ZX Squid took it from him, but I mean, BTR Dark Dragon really doing well. It's like, he adds BTR to the front of his name there and just gets, 5
it's
extra horsepower.
Yeah,
60 horsepower or something. But he drove fantastic. I mean, I'd have to say, in Formula Forza history, that's probably the best race he's ever had.
That's probably the best first time in Group A performance we've ever had from a driver that spent most of his time down in Group B.
I think he's been in Group...
Not for us.
He hasn't been in Group A.
Nope.
So, anyway...
That's probably the best Group A performance we've ever seen from a new driver.
Yeah, so certainly big props to Josh.
Under pressure.
In Group B, GT300, the new guys basically ran away with it. The GT300s, the IMSA 90 GTO, and Scooby-Dooby-Doo were running sort of neck and neck and pulling away from, what would that be, WRC Cape, Scurry 76, who had a huge time penalty, and Apex Warrior wasn't there, so I guess it was just the two of them, but the two Zondas were just running a clinic on Group B and ended up winning the race. Scooby-Dooby-Doo did take the lead there. I love saying his name. That's hilarious. Anyway.
I laugh every time you say it.
All right. So he did end up taking the lead in Group B and held on to it. So his team in Group B went 1-2. That's great. I am excited to see his team in Group A and what kind of, what kind of quality racing we're going to see from those two drivers. So I don't know about you guys, but I thought this was one of the best GT or Super GT races we've seen.
I would go along with that too.
Yeah,
Not for me.
Really exciting to watch it.
You didn't watch it; you were just in it.
All right.
The other side of that coin was Bosch Tech Racing. So BTR, the GT500 team, that's Subway Cookie and Smithy Lad. They basically dominated the Group B GT500. Now, that's not to say that there wasn't a challenger. TLR Clips was leading the race and had a pretty sizable lead when he lagged out. I was watching the replay the other day, and man, TLR Eclipse, just the worst luck with lag, I guess. I mean, because it's not like he's bouncing all... I don't know how much racing you guys have done with him, but I mean...
He just loses connection.
Yeah, it's not like his car is laggy throughout the race.
He just disappears.
Right, he's gone.
And it's always been the worst possible time, too. It's like, oh, he's doing good, and he's gone.
Yeah, so I hate to see that happen.
We should make one of those South Park meme for him. Look, TLR Eclipse is doing good race, and he lagged out.
Now,
and he's gone.
One of the things we need to talk about is, in all of our races, one thing that's been brought to our attention is the level of non-relevant chatter, I suppose. We do need to keep this to a minimum in both lobbies, both Group A and Group B. A lot of practice and time and concentration goes into being able to run these cars this fast. And when you look at how competitive it is, these guys really do need their concentration to be able to focus on their lines, and when there must be communication, it needs to be for calling out pits, calling out overtakes, that sort of thing. And we had at least a couple, I guess more than a couple, complaints about the number or the amount of chatter that we had in the lobbies. So really,
a few people come forward.
Yeah, guys. If you hear some of this chatter, just help remind everybody. I mean, you don't have to be, that guy that is bringing the party down. But I mean, if you hear some of the chatter, just be like, "Come on, guys, let's keep it as silent as we can." Just kind of help us quell it there. And if you are the one that's talking, I'm sure you're not trying. You're not doing anything maliciously to try and distract the other drivers, but just help other drivers out and try and not distract them and let them do their race. I mean, if it's a totally silent race and everybody does great, absolutely chat it up at the very end of the race when everybody's done. So that's my little soapbox there, and I guess from there we move on to points. Derek, do you want to
points?
Yeah, do you want to take us through points there?
Would love to. In GT500, as for the top 5 in points, FMS Senna is still sitting way up at the top with 587 points. Exactly 200 points behind him from Serpent Racing is FMS Top Secret. Sitting at third, actually, the dark horse pretty much of the season. We know he's got a lot of potential. He's very due for a win. But I guess at this point, since he hasn't won, you could call him a dark horse. XPR Chicane, the newly dubbed XPR member, has kind of slid up behind everybody else and managed to take third, sitting there with 346 points. Behind him is a Subway Cookie from BTR in the Super with 339. And in fifth is XPR Moon Tower from Serpent Racing with 332 points. As for the team standings, Jet Vets still sits at the top with 759 points. 40 points behind them, slowly closing the gap is Serpent.
Close.
Yeah, that's like one bad finish from closing the gap. Serpent Racing is sitting in second with 719 points. Sitting in third is Bosch Tech Racing with 565 points. In fourth, XP Racing in the Lotus with 427 points. And moving into fifth this week is Jet Academy with 423 points. As for the GT300 field,
Derek, if you want, I'll take the GT300 if you want.
You know what? Fine, go ahead. I guess you don't need my help.
That way.
You know what?
Gosh.
You know what? I'll just do this. All right. We've got In Flames. They're right at the top, 492 points. It's a pretty sizable gap to second place ZX Squid. That's 352 points for ZX Squid. And then another very big gap to third place Johnny Two Shoes from Midnight Performance Development. But from what we're hearing, Johnny Two Shoes may have troubles meeting the rest of the races, so somebody could take that third place spot from him. And in fourth place, it's XY101 that might get the job done, 248 points. So we're really talking
That's
about...
surprising to me.
Yeah, we're talking about 20 points there, 21 points actually, separating those two. So XY101 is about a race away from taking third place from Johnny Two Shoes. Alex P is in fifth, but we know he's not getting any more points this season unless he subs back in for another team. LMR Led Got Ass then is sixth. That's 231 points for him. BTR McNish, seventh. Apex Warrior is in eighth. WRC Cape, ninth. And BTR Dark Dragon, 10th. So it's more places than I wanted to go through, but wow. I mean, it's just a big change up this year.
Maybe you shouldn't do the points.
You know what? Both of you. Okay, so the teams...
No, fine, go ahead.
You're turning into me, Derek.
All right, so the teams in GT300. This is where it's really interesting. There were big gaps in the driver championship in GT300, but teams is really where it gets exciting. We've got LCR still leading after those brilliant drives from Alex P, but they're still hanging on to it. 620 points at the top. About 30 points behind them, 29 to be precise, is Midnight Performance Development. Now, they've had solid outings every single time. Since they switched to the Ascari, they've been always consistently right up there on the podium and doing really well. So you got to look at them as potentially the team champions of this season if of course, Trecento can't do anything about it. They're sitting in third after being bumped by Midnight Performance Development with 585 points. So it's not that far 6 points. That's not that far for Midnight Performance Development to take a lead over of course, Trecento, but 6 points, it's everything just to even take the lead over another team. So High Performance Racing then is fourth, and Bosch Tech Motorsports Group is fifth. So I think that's really pretty exciting to show all that. In fourth, those points... that's 517 points, and then a pretty big gap down to Bosch Tech Motorsports Group in fifth, 358 points. So I think our top four is pretty much locked in, unless we get whole teams that can't continue racing, but I don't think we're going to see that from our top five. Right, so I guess that leaves us on points. Let's go into league news. Now, we already talked about the Sail teams, SAYL, Sail Motorsport coming in after we did the podcast last week before the race. Well, they've formed another team. So there are now two Sail teams. There's Sail Motorsport, which participated last week, and then Sail Racing, who's joining for this race. And they're also in the Zonda, so I'm expecting big things from these guys as well. It'll be really interesting. I'm glad we're seeing the GT300s fill back out, and I like the enthusiasm that this franchise is coming in. This is a totally new franchise to Formula Forza. You guys have not raced with us before, but they are very professional in how they race, and I'm really glad to see yet another franchise come in. So expecting to see good things from them.
Sounds like Jet.
Yeah, it does sound like Jet a little bit. They are looking to add possibly another team in GT500 if an opening happens. We'll have to see whether that happens.
Definitely sounds like Jet then.
Yeah, except for you guys aren't cross. You don't have any Jet in GT300.
We did. We had one signed up at the beginning.
We thought about it and we're like, nah, we like to go fast.
Right. Okay, so...
Not you.
I'm in GT500, aren't I? Sorry, continue.
Continue, Ryan.
Okay, so Jet Motorsport then picks up the remaining, or the opening spot then that AVR created by missing 2 races in a row. So AVR is still in it. They can still participate in the remaining races, but because of that absence, we open the registration, and the first name in line was Jet Motorsport for a third team, and they committed to not running another GTR. In this instance, they chose the Honda NSX, which is proven to be a very formidable car and the only other car to have won a race. So, a little foresight on them is probably a pretty good choice to sort of balance the field with another Honda there. What do you guys? I mean, since this is your team, we got Brad and James driving this car. Brad, you had a little bit of maybe it was just not enough time to qualify or whatever, but you just kind of got pinched out there right at the last minute, didn't you?
I didn't realize.
Mr. Practice.
Time out.
Okay.
I have a legit excuse.
Mr. Practice.
And this is a legit excuse. I finished qualifying. No, I do hate this track.
Oh, God.
But I finished qualifying, and then I had to go to work, and so I didn't have time. I only had like a couple hours, 3 hours, 4 hours to do this. So I finished, and got ready to leave, and then went to screw around for because I usually practice qualifying in the lobby with other people. So when that fell apart, I went to screw around and noticed that I had normal steering on as opposed to simulation. That's my excuse. That's like, for me at least, that's a couple tens right there.
Yeah, but you still wouldn't have made the race.
I would have been called up.
He might have been.
I'll give you that.
He might have been. All right. So anyway, now that we have the Jet Motorsport team explained, the other one, we already said Johnny Two Shoes.
I didn't explain the team at all.
Oh my. Hold on. Let me get.
Sorry.
Here we go.
The reason we chose.
Let me get the world's smallest violin.
The reason we chose the Honda / Acura is because I remember Ryan, you saying that we couldn't join if we drove the GTR.
Yeah, Mr. League Commissioner, you have anything to say about that?
I don't think I actually said that. I said it would be disappointing.
You said something along the lines. You
got pretty bad at us.
You hinted that if we drove the GTR, that we wouldn't be able to join because it would be slightly unfair, and that there are already too many GTRs. So we just and I wanted to paint the Honda anyways and drive the Honda because it sounds spectacular. Sounds better than a GTR. So I was like,
you could have joined with the GTR, but it really would have been disappointing, I think, to see a third Jet GTR.
He would have disowned us as friends.
Yeah, kind of.
This is the Formula Forza Podcast brought to you by Jet Motorsport. We drive GTRs.
No, I really do think it's a good thing that you chose the Honda, and I hope it really was not just the pressure from me to choose something other than the GTR.
No, one of the main things is that I thought the pre-paint job that I made for it looked good, and then it just, one of the higher up things is that it feels good, and that it sounds good. That's one of the main things, because you can't get bored just listening to it. That'll keep you focused.
Okay.
Oh, come on. You can't, Derek, you drove a 24-hour race, right? Or the
8 hours.
The Tour of VLN. Remember the Tour of VLN?
Yes.
How much more interested were you in racing with the sound of the Porsche?
I was very interested in that.
There you go.
It was a terrible car.
Oh, it was horrible. I hit the wall and it was better.
But it sounded great.
Oh, yeah. See?
Big tip, sorry. If you want to be like Jet Motorsport, pick the car you think sounds the best.
Next season's entry, Koenigsegg.
Right?
Okay, so we do need to move on beyond the Jet
control
Motorsport team here. So we have to
Isn't this
pick
what
this
the
up
show's
again.
all about?
Yeah, don't we
You do kind of have
sponsor this show? We can.
That's true. We have to be
We are the name
kind
sponsor.
to our sponsors. All right, but seriously though, we'll talk about Midnight Performance Development. Johnny Two Shoes, we already know he's not going to make several of these next races. We had Deftone subbing in for him in this last race, and Deftone did pretty well. We do have Chris Becker, the owner of the team, subbing in this week, and possibly could be, it's either going to be Chris or Colin's Deftone. We could see one of those guys subbing in for Johnny for the remainder of the season. Now, Johnny could still make a race here, so just know it's 3 competent drivers for 1 driver slot. So really, that's still a team to be feared, even though the driver lineup is kind of constantly changing for who that second driver is. Elamar Ledgott still leading the team there as the team captain, and always doing his best to try and put up some decent points there for Midnight Performance Development. I think other than that, I'm not really sure that we have a whole lot of other league news here. I'm not sure that there's any other driver
James
changes.
Hall.
We already talked about that.
What?
James Hall.
That he isn't going to be coming back for the rest of the season?
Oh, we didn't talk about that?
No.
Do you even know about this, Ryan?
Holy cow, this is a podcast. Just
Ryan
get to
kind
it.
of
You
knows
got
about
it. Just go.
All right. Well, James Hall won't be racing for the remainder of the season. And to continue with the theme of switching drivers around, Chicken McHaggard will now be racing for Jet Motorsport.
Again.
So
we can move on now. Ryan, predictions for Mugello. What do you think?
Well, I really like Mugello, but one thing I do, I love the flow of this track.
I really hate Mugello.
Well, I like the flow of this track, but what I was going to say is that I kind of hate the club circuit because of the shortcut, because it cuts off one of the most fun
2 sectors out of it.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah.
The most fun parts of that whole course are just cut off by the club, and it's like, you've got this fantastic thing. Let me just give you the front step. And you're like, damn it.
And now it looks like a meatball sub.
Yeah, so anyway, it's going to be
It does! Come on!
It's going to be all reliant now on double turns. There's nothing else to worry about on this track. It's all double turns now. Double turns and one long straight. That's it.
This is going to be great.
It's going to suck.
I think it's going to be really good, but it's going to favor different cars here.
There's literally nowhere to pass. There's 2 spots to pass. Front straight and then that little straight between.
That's not it. You can't even. That's still tight track.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? It's going to.
I'm baffled.
Senna trying to make up time here is going to be hilarious.
I'm baffled because this track is forever wide. I really don't even know what you guys are talking about. This track is ridiculously wide.
When you have a GTR, have you seen how wide the GTR is?
Yeah, it's a car
So take a city bus and add another half a city bus to it. That's how wide the GTR is.
Okay, well, all the other cars will be enjoying this track because you can pass even mid-corner in some of these corners. Now, there's going to be... The brakes are going to come into a lot of play here because there are some... the heavy braking into turn 1 is going to, really...
And that's it?
Well, no, I'm just saying that's gonna be one big passing point there into turn 1, just on brakes. Nothing else. Just on brakes. It doesn't even matter how hard you corner or how fast your car is or whatever. If you can just out-brake people, you can get a couple of passes there just in turn 1. And there's only so many in your class in your lobby. So, there's the NSX has really good brakes, and the Ferrari has decent brakes, but the I believe it's the Ascari that has just ridiculous brakes. That I think Midnight Performance Development and even the Zonda could excel here because they're fairly light cars. Even I realize we're dealing with a 2,500 pound limit here, but these cars with their brakes are some of the fastest stopping cars we have in the season versus the GTRs and the McLarens. They don't really have some of the best brakes, and the Ferrari is sort of middle ground, I suppose. I said it was good, but I think it's sort of middle ground on brakes.
Something else
not on fire
to talk about. I was actually practicing for pit entry. You literally have to slow to a crawl right out of the last corner. Like, you basically have to, go really slow, because there's no, pit entry. It's like corner.
You don't have a big lineup.
So there's no lineup to do. It's so we need to make it clear that if people are going to be pitting, you have to call it out way before you even enter the last corner. Because there's going to be... Because literally, to go into the pits, you have to take the racing line of the corner to even go into the pits. So you're going to be slowing down to get in there while somebody's going to be behind you. So that's going to be slightly unsafe.
Yeah, I see that. The exit couldn't be safer, though. I mean, Mugello, we never have any issues with merging because the track is 5 lanes wide there.
You're slowing down at the apex, basically.
Yeah, I totally get you. On the way in, you definitely got to be careful. Even on the full circuit, you got to be a little careful there. Not because of your positioning, but just because there's that kink and you've built up so much speed. This is just kind of a weird pit anyway because it makes you go way right just to turn left again and back into the pits. It's like a weird chicane just to slow you down, But we got 45 laps of the Brembo Italian Invitational. We're going to estimate this to be about a 47-minute race. It'll probably be quicker than that, honestly, once it's all said and done. Certainly quicker for the GT500s. But for GT300s, I think we're still looking at about a 45-minute race probably overall. We're going to see... you guys got predictions on what you think the GT500s will be doing in qualifying here?
For the midfield, you might want to work your way down to a 52.
I'm going to say 53 for midfield.
53, low 53s.
Yeah,
we'll take a happy medium there. Low 53s is what the bulk of the field is going to want to shoot for if you want to make Lobby A. If you want to guarantee yourself a spot in Lobby A.
52 all day long.
Yeah, if you make a 52, you're going to guarantee yourself a spot in Lobby A.
I wouldn't say guarantee, but it's going to be
good. It's going to be fairly easy for you to make Lobby A. Now, the top guys, 51. We might see a 51, probably a 51 out of it. Who knows? We might see somebody might blow us a wing at a 50. But who knows? We're expecting a 51 out of the top guys for GT500. Ryan, what do you think for GT300?
Well, we did our preseason testing, and it's safe to say that we were a little slower than the pack is now after learning all the tricks of the trade with these cars, but we ran a 102 in preseason testing. So I'm going to say we're going to be right around that 1 minute mark. And some of that, usually we run about 9 to 10 seconds behind the GT500s, and I don't think that's a whole lot different here. I think it'll be right around a minute for the top times, a 101, maybe even a 102 for the rest of the field there. I'm just hoping that these Zondas can get up into Group A and show us a good race there. I mean, I know that these guys are quality drivers. I just want to see them get quicker qualifying so that we can see what they can do when they have drivers of their same caliber there.
Is that all we got this week, Ryan?
We haven't even talked about race predictions position-wise.
Yeah, but our race predictions are always a shot in the dark.
Shot in the... No, it's dim song.
Okay, so Senna had a huge delay at the last race, and he was still, 25 minutes in, he was in the lead. Now, we're not doing another recap of the previous race, but the point is he finished 4th there, and so he's going to get 3 seconds off of that. 3. So I really think it's about the same. Yes.
Wow.
It's really much the same, and so he's going to start really, really late. Should be 19 seconds if I'm not mistaken. He had a 22-second delay, I believe. So we're looking at a 19-second delay, and I don't think he'll have any trouble.
It takes him 21 laps to get in the lead. If he's going to get in the lead, it's going to take him like 21 laps.
That could be. I mean, like I said, we saw 25 minutes in or 25 minutes into the race, he was in the lead. Now, he still had to pit, but I mean, he still worked his way back into the lead. That's mighty impressive, really. I mean, not that many people have led GT500 this season, and he's led more laps than anybody else. So, I guess I'm looking for a Subway Cookie and XPR Moon Tower to come back up into Group A. I'm not really expecting any miracles out of... I don't think that this track really favors the XPR Lexus. Now, I may eat these words, and I'll be happy if he does get his win here, but I do think he's due. I just don't think that this is the track that's going to do it. What do you guys think?
I don't think so.
It's definitely a speed-oriented track, and the Lexus is definitely not the fastest car.
Yeah, I think that it's quite clear at this point that the Hondas are very quick out of a corner and can hold very good grip mid-corner. Maybe not as much grip as, say, the GTR, but, they do quite well. Now, nothing can match the top end of the GTR. I mean, Senna has been running practically no downforce. In fact, I think it has been no downforce for the past couple of races.
No downforce at all.
Yeah, so I know at the end of that long straightaway at Road Atlanta Club, he was hitting 170, and that's just crazy. I mean, the other cars aren't even capable of hitting that, at these regulations at that track. It's just not capable of doing that, regardless of whether you tried to brake or not. Now, I do think that the sort of long... They cut off some of the straight here by making this a club circuit, but that long straight is going to benefit the GT500s. I think they'll be able to get around the GT300s easier here. There's still that... those sort of... They're not even really snaking turns, you know what I mean? I mean, they're large chicanes, as Brad called them when we were in R1 here, but... I don't think the GT500s will have any problems getting around the GT300s here because you've got so many areas that are just straight.
There's so much straightaway.
Exactly. I mean, there's...
Straight turn. Turn.
But then again, as Derek pointed out the last time we were at Mugello in R1, that you basically just described every track. But the point is that you don't just have, like Sebring has some wandering... it's still full throttle through there, but it's kind of a wandering line that you drive, and so you have to be a little bit careful about how much grip you're putting through the tires and, how much you're holding it. And if you're going too wide there, Versus here, I think you can go 3 wide. Like GT 500s, I think they'll be able to split around a GT 300 that's going slowly on one of those straights. You know what I mean? Versus, there's no way you could do that on, through the S's at Road Atlanta. There's just no way.
You could get 2 cars through the S's on Road Atlanta.
Yes, you could.
You tried.
I tried.
Senna did. He did it.
That's,
Yeah, to the Senna.
But he's slightly alien.
He was flying the mothership. Okay, the other big one that I'm predicting here is Goss is going to be up to speed now, I think, in GT500.
He wasn't up to speed before?
I mean, he certainly did well, but I actually expected Goss to be like right there challenging for the win at this past race, and I think that's what we're going to be seeing here. I think we're going to see Top Secret level.
He was until he lagged out.
Top Secret was a little bit pulling away from him. I think we're going to see a Goss that is at Top Secret's level, and then it's going to just come down to race condition, strategy and positioning and timing and whatnot. And I do think we're going to see a stronger Goss at this race. I don't know what you guys feel about that. One thing I do want to do before we sign off of this podcast, we did it last week. I want to do our teams of the week for all 3 of us. And I guess I'll just go ahead and go first. And I got to say, my team of the week is probably the Snooze You Lose Zondas for making a splash of an entry as a new franchise, really. It's not just one team now. It looks like they're going to try and get 3 teams in. They've got 2 in now, but in their first outing, they won Group B. I mean, that's a pretty big accomplishment, even for Group B. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we got slouch drivers in any of these seats. Yeah, right. So that's who my team of the week is. One of you two wanna take the reins on who your team of the week is?
I'm gonna say my team of the week is Tech Life Racing. Now, albeit that
none of them finished the race.
And that there was only one in Group A, but when they were in the race, they were doing quite well. TLR is my team.
I could give you that one.
Yeah.
But then you two took the 2 good teams. You know how it always happens.
I'm going to go with SMR for my team of the week.
Actually, they were mine last week.
Go with...
I liked Space Mountain Racing.
Yeah, they were, Brad. Way to go.
They are pretty good. It's just this past week, I don't know what the deal was with Mr. Dr. Spaceman, but he didn't even show up at the race. Like, he qualified, but wasn't there. So I don't know.
You're gonna start getting hate mail from Space Mountain Racing.
They weren't even there.
No, Slamont was there. He represented the team.
Yeah. I'm sorry, all you space fans.
Okay, Derek.
I'm a fan of space.
I'm a fan of mountains.
It's kind of hard to pick a team because you two took the 2 good ones. I'm going to have to say,
AVR.
If we're going to go by qualifying...
We're going off race, bro, Chacho.
Fine. No, I'm going to go off qualifying.
Who says you have to choose something different?
Because that's how we roll. Or at least I do. Now, moving on. For qualifying, I'm going to just toot my own horn here, but I'm going to go with the JET Motorsport GTRs as for qualifying.
Get out of here.
Out.
Get out.
You didn't represent the team that well.
It's kind of a shameless plug here, isn't it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I could. That's why I'm not in the GTR, so I'm not even.
If we're taking myself out of it, and I'm taking myself out of an ownership spot, when a team puts all 4 of their cars into Group A in a series where there's only 7 cars per Group A, that's impressive.
Okay, I'll give you that. That was big.
If Serpent Racing had 4 Acuras and they put all of them into Group A, that's impressive.
I agree with you. I'll give you that. That was you can choose Jet. I'll give you this one.
From now on, that's not allowed, though. Ryan can choose Jet. You can't.
Oh, jeez. Okay, guys. Well, certainly I'm going to be looking forward to this race. If you want to see us, we will be live on Twitch. That's www.twitch.tv/Formula Forza. You'll see us there on Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And be sure to catch us for that. There will be live commentation by myself. We'll see if I can get a a second commentator, although you'll probably just see
the loneliest number that you'll ever do. Who can be as bad as one?
You know,
that's the perfect song for this weekend commentary.
You know, both of you guys, I'm gonna kill you, and I'm gonna burn your house down. 100 style.
100 style.
You're gonna burn my house down?
Okay, so...
Sorry, 100th, we love you.
Anyway, you can also follow all the action on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Formula Forza. You can also follow the immediate tweets and mutterings and musings from us at Formula Forza. So be sure to drop us a line
or
there.
Or just follow our personal accounts.
You could do that too, but that's less exciting. Everybody loves
what?
I think that's more exciting.
Yeah, it's more exciting. You get to see what I eat for breakfast.
Right. So the one you're going to want to follow is at Formula Forza. Guys, really, I apologize.
Unless you're a big breakfast fan.
I do apologize for this unconventional.
We had to make up for 2 weeks of banter.
I know. I didn't banter for a whole week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, we had to make up.
Insane.
We had to make up for all the banter that we lost.
I do apologize that this has been a podcast filled with us walking all over each other. James Brothers. But we do need to go ahead and sign off. So thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks after this.
God, 2 weeks. We're not going to be there.
So hold on. Yes, 2 weeks! So,
yeah.
I hate these 1 week things so much.
And you hate the track we're at this weekend.
I hate most of the tracks we're at.
Pretty much all of them, let's be honest.
My performances at Mugello for R1 have been less than stellar.
They've been lackluster.
Yeah, less than stellar.
Sign off. Sign off.
All right, guys. See you next time.
What's goodbye in Italian?
Ciao.
Oh, yeah.
Arrivederci.
No, that's French.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Is it really that?
You played Assassin's Creed?
I don't remember.
Why don't you just say adios again and just pull it off really well, and just be like, yeah, because we're in Italy. Adios.
Adios.
Adios. Is that from the south? Adios.
Brad, you're making it worse.
How much you bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Ryan, are we firing Brad?
Yeah, this is pretty much the longest sign off ever. All right, guys. Thanks. We'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys.
Adios.
Good God, guys. I am going to have to edit the crap out of this. Seriously, we were like walking all over each other.
You should just run it raw.
Yeah, dude, run it raw, dude. It's better that way.
Just
Formula Forza, running it raw.
That
That's
sounds
so wrong.
Sounds horrifying. I just might do that, though.
It's gonna be rough.
Whoa.
Be prepared.
You said raw, not rough.
Bring the lube.
What? No.
Oh, raw and rough are the same sort of thing?
No. This has gone to a very dark spot. I want to go back to my normal Formula Forza podcast.
Lube.
No. No lube
Brought
required.
To you by Angels.
You guys realize...
Brought to you by Angels and Fairy Dust.
You guys realize we've now just lost out on any potential lube manufacturer sponsors that we could ever get for the league, right? They're just out the window now.
We just made a plug for all of them. No, we just made a plug for all of them.